Hi there, I'm coming to you with my last video blog for my stay here in tropical southern Thailand. I'm going to be heading over to Europe for a few stops before continuing back to Canada in the next couple of weeks. And I look forward to seeing you. And on that note, I just wanted to remind you of our upcoming events in the west side of Toronto. On February the 3rd, we're going to be having brunch at Brown's Social Club in Oakville, followed a couple of weeks later on the 21st of February, we're having a dinner at the Waterside Inn in Mississauga. So if you live anywhere near those areas, or frankly anywhere in the Greater Toronto area, it's a great opportunity to come out, meet some of your fellow members, share some stories about travels past, and I'll be talking a little bit about what's new and exciting coming up at Wheel and Anchor. I'd also like to take an opportunity now to answer a few more member questions. We've had lots of questionnaires come in over the last couple of weeks. We appreciate all the questions, and it's a great chance for you to understand a little bit better about what we're all about here at Wheel and Anchor. Linda from Cordis, Ontario said she spends part of the year at her home in southern Ontario, part of the year out west, and several weeks of winter down in more southern climes. And how can she possibly attend events when she's not in one place? Well, I think a lot of our members are in the same boat. And what I would suggest is by following this weekly newsletter, as well as the event page on our website, you'll see that we are going to be doing more and more events in different places, not only in Ontario, but across Canada. And I'm also, for example, going to be down south between the 6th and the 17th of February, attending events in Phoenix, Arizona, as well as in Palm Springs, California. So if you are in those areas, if you spend some time down there yourself, I'd love to meet you in person, be happy to hear from you, and perhaps come by and we can share a cup of coffee or a glass of wine. I had another great question from Jeanette in Montreal, as well as Elise in Calgary and Pam in Winnipeg. In fact, numerous members have asked about whether or not we have chapters in all the different cities across Canada. And I love this question because part of the vision at Wheel and Anchor is that we set up little chapters and groups in the different communities, because there are so many people like you that are traveling and looking for other people to share some great adventures with. So we'd love to hear from you wherever you are in Canada. If you'd like to have an event, if you'd like to see myself or Veronica come by in the coming months, please drop me a note, drop Veronica a note, and to the extent that we can make it happen, we will definitely love to meet you and come out and facilitate an event in your area. Finally, Brian from Ottawa asked about whether we do all-inclusive packages. Well, Brian, we aren't set up like a normal travel agency in the sense that we don't typically sell off-the-shelf packages to places like Mexico and the Caribbean that are known for their all-inclusive resorts. I do like to make an effort particularly on our longer tours, to set up the programs so that most of the major elements are included. Your air transportation, your ground transportation, all your sightseeing, accommodation, and most of the meals that make sense. I personally, and I've heard the feedback I've gotten from many of our members is that really including everything, like for example, alcoholic beverages, when we have a lot of people who actually don't drink, is a little bit counterintuitive. And so we don't do a true all-inclusive package where literally you don't have to spend an extra nickel, but I do believe in including all of the major elements so that there are no big surprises on your tours. And finally, I'd just like to remind you that we have a couple of more webinars coming up. We've had two very successful ones about Japan and our women's Austrian spa program. On January the 24th, I'll be talking a little bit about Adriatic Coast and the countries of Croatia and Montenegro. We're going to be visiting there in May of this year on a land and cruise program that I'm very excited about. We have a number of members signed up for that. And regardless if you're interested in that program or not, the idea of the webinar is to give you a bit of an insight into why that region is so popular right now, what makes it so hospitable, some of the features and attractions beyond the incredible coastline, beyond the great wine that make Croatia and the Adriatic coast such an attractive and popular place to visit. So that's on January the 24th. And 2 weeks later, on February the 7th, we'll be having a webinar about the Atlantic coast of Spain and Portugal. Also a program we're going to be offering this coming fall. And we travel from Santiago de Compostela in the Galicia region in the north part of Spain. And we're going to examine a little bit about that particular region, how these coastal communities have evolved over the years and what makes that such a special part of Europe. So we can look forward to that webinar on February the 7th. So I look forward to seeing you back in Canada soon, or perhaps down in the States. And regardless, As always, I wish you happy travels.